Another day of preseason, or the preseason challenge, I should say, is in the books. And I tell you what, the footy keeps getting better and better. And we started off today with what, in my opinion, is the best and the most important preseason game of any calendar year. The NRL All-Stars match, this time, for the first time ever, coming live from New Zealand, which straight off the bat wasn't too much of a fan of, if I'm being completely honest. It was more so the time zone, but even just the picture quality. I didn't get a look at the Channel 9 broadcast, but I just didn't think it looked as good as it has in past years. I guess that may be due because it was a Saturday at 3:30 p.m. in the afternoon, which if it's a Sunday arvo I can get behind, but just didn't feel like the All-Stars match. And to be honest, I was hoping it would go to New Zealand. Probably definitely wrong on that one. But the Indigenous All-Stars break the 4-year hoodoo, finally beating the Maori All-Stars only for the second time since they changed it to the Indigenous versus the Maori sides. So good for them to get the win, especially because it was the first time where they were the away side. They were the ones travelling to New Zealand. A bit of an upset win. The war cries were absolutely fantastic once again. Obviously, I'm not going to sit here and understand and try and tell you why each dance means what, because I've got no idea. I'm a boring as white Aussie whose grandparents aren't even from any other country. So, great to see that. It's a great spectacle, and it only happens once every year. So, when we see the war dances, those two facing off the haka, and I believe the Indigenous one's just called a war cry. I'm very sorry if I get that wrong, but seeing them face off, it happens once a year, and it is magical. And despite the caliber of players we were missing, still probably the best game of the preseason so far. I reckon that maybe they got to do this during the second week of trials, and maybe they have in past years. I should have looked it up, because these players, it means so much to them. It'd be the same as putting on an Origin jersey or putting on an international jersey. We saw the reaction of Jordan Ricky pre-game. He was close to tears. So for these guys to have their first proper hit out, and it's at this intensity, maybe they're going to put it in the second week, because I feel like, look, we didn't see it, so maybe I'm overthinking this, but it's only a matter of time till we see someone get injured during these All-Star games. But the Indigenous All-Stars pick up the win. Nicho Hynes, absolutely undeniably the best player on the field. And after winning Dally M at halfback last year, he got moved to fullback and still looked as good as he did at the Melbourne Storm all those years ago. He's on a team with the likes of Latrell Mitchell, with the likes of Cody Walker, and he was easily the best player, not just for the Indigenous All-Stars, but the best player on the field. He scored one try, he ran for over 200 metres, and got a try assist as well. Absolutely incredible, Nicho Hynes. Can't wait to see how he goes in Cronulla another year. It was not just his first year as a halfback, his first year at a new club, but it was his first year playing full-time NRL, first time as a starter, and he won the Dally M. Nicho Hynes. If he's not in the conversation for a top 5 player in the world, then I'm not here. If I'm being nitpicky, thought Latrell Mitchell and Cody Walker were a bit quiet. Latrell obviously being put into the centres does him no favours. Tyrell Sloan, I thought he had a pretty decent game. Selwyn Cobbo seemed to have the cursed hands of Kevy Walters. The Kevy Walters curse on him at the beginning, and then he came back late and proved to be the difference, scoring that hat-trick within 12 minutes at the end of the match. It sort of happened the way I predicted it. I thought the Maori forward pack would come out firing and they'd be closed for about 70 minutes, but then the Indigenous class would just shine late. That's exactly what happened. You can't match Cody Walker running down that left edge, even though he did play mostly on the right, but you can't match that left edge attack that him, Latrell, and when you chuck Nicho Hynes there, they have on that left edge. Selwyn Cobbo, he had a great game. I thought he had a lot of errors early, but to run 224 metres was absolutely phenomenal. Maybe it was just one good quarter, because he did actually have 4 errors. So did Latrell Mitchell. I thought he was a bit quiet, like I said. I thought their forwards were alright. There was a lot of hype around Jermaine Hopgood, the new Parramatta Eels signing, but I thought he was a bit quiet as well. Did nothing bad. Outside of that, comes the career of Ryan James comes to an end. A great way for him to bow out, a cheeky Indigenous All-Stars win. As for the Māori side, look, they had to win through their forwards, and their forwards were winning the contest pretty much the entire match despite not getting the result. James Fisher-Harris was easily the best player on the field for the Maori All-Stars in my opinion. Probably gets the 2 points, running for 174 metres. He just looks a class above any other forward on that field. And they have Britton Nakora, Jordan Ricky, and Joseph Tapine, who looks very small. I think it's clear the Raiders are going to play him as a number 13, which, considering he was arguably the best prop and the best forward last season, not sure if I'm totally on board with that decision. But hey, congratulations to the Indigenous All-Stars. Nico Hines making a statement before his next season as a Cronulla Shark. Great win. First time since 2019, and I can't wait to see the war dances again in 2024. But there were 2 more games tonight. The first one, well, the second one, the middle one, being the grand final rematch in reserve grade form. But despite the Penrith Panthers playing a weaker side to the Parramatta Eels, they walked away with a 22 points to 16 win. Their depth, the Penrith Panthers, is absolutely incredible. They lose Stephen Crichton, and then you come out and watch this game and you see the likes of Jesse McLean, Sunia Tunava, I'm very sorry, the young Fijian fullback, Tom Jenkins was awesome, Kurt Falls was good, Jack Cogger, he looks exactly like Sean O'Sullivan. I don't know why. Maverick Guy had a great flick pass. Matthew Eisenhuth looked like he could be the starting number 13 for almost any other team in the competition. He's a terrific forward. I thought Zach Osting had a great game. So did Jermaine Salmon, who definitely looked like he put on some size. So there's definitely some competition to replace Kikau. I thought it was Hosking, but he didn't impress me as much as I thought he would have in this game. Despite saying that, I thought the Eels were pretty disappointing. You know, they played the likes of Sean Lane, Ryan Madison, Ogden, Jacob Arthur, you know, a couple more first graders than the Penrith Panthers played, and they were dominated pretty much from start to finish, unfortunately, for the Parramatta Eels in the forward pack. I can understand the back line. Look, Penrith, their reserve grade sides have been winning everything for some reason. But outside of Sean Russell, and I thought Zach Sini had a great game scoring 2 tries, I thought the Eels were kind of disappointing. It's still only a trial match. Josh Hodgson still looks out of place, but I think that that'll just come with time, and he was playing with different halves. So Jacob Arthur, Jordan Rankin, they are very different players to Mitchell Moses and Dylan Brown, not just lesser players for a lack of a better word than me trying to sound pretty nice. But congratulations to the Penrith Panthers. Their depth is incredible. Like, we sit here and say, you got to re-sign Crichton, you got to re-sign Martin, but their depth is absolutely insane. I can't wait to see it, but I'm also scared of what the Penrith Panthers are going to do in the next few years. And in the final game of the night, St Helens kick off their Australian tour with a 30-18 win over the other Red V, even though St Helens in this one were the Blue V. A great win for St Helens. They did exactly what they should have done. A lot of people will sit here and they'll say that St Helens, they should have done exactly what they did. They probably should have beaten the Dragons reserve grade side by a bit more. The Dragons, they still played pretty much their best starting 2 to 5. Moses Mbai still played. He might more than likely will be the number 6 round 1. Blake Laurie had a pretty good game. Ben Murdoch-Masila has looked like he has lost so much weight. He looks incredibly fit. When he was named to the back row, I was a bit skeptical because of just how damaging he was as a middle forward, but I thought he had a pretty good game. St Helens, look, the obvious question coming out of this game is, can they compete with the Penrith Panthers? I still think that they have little to no chance of beating Penrith, but that's more so a praise of Penrith than it is a knock on St Helens. I thought they were still pretty good. You can see the different styles. St Helens' line speed was pretty much what Penrith Panthers, maybe not as good, but their line speed was so much better than the Dragons. But you can just tell they don't have the wrestling over there in the Super League because they rarely put the Dragons on their back. It's probably why St George were able to stay in the game as long as they did. But Saints, they still haven't played their full side. Jack Wellesby, he'll go into number 6. Johnny Loback's the number 6 who played this game. Thought he was a bit quiet. I thought Passy, the number 17 with the long hair off the bench, was great for the Saints. And Curtis Sirinen, my absolute boy. Can't believe he hasn't got an NRL contract still. He was absolutely phenomenal in the limited chances he got. Joey Lossick as well. If there's a team looking for a number 9, I think Parramatta had him maybe just this last year gone, maybe the year before. Wouldn't surprise me if a team with a 9 snatched him up because he was absolutely great in this game. And James Roby, the Cameron Smith of the Super League, he looked great in this, which is great because he's a bit old now, so he'll likely never come to the NRL, but people have been singing his praises for years. Josh Hodgson, probably the best England number 9, but outside of him, Roby is definitely the next in line. So, Saints, they did nothing to suggest that they have no chance, and I thought they already did against Penrith, but at the same time, still think Penrith probably win 13 plus. But ladies and gentlemen, another day of the preseason in the books. 2 huge games, and then Penrith Panthers made every rugby league fan cry by showing off their incredible depth. If you enjoy the review, guys, make sure you smash that like button. Leave a comment down below which team impressed you most tonight, and leave a comment down below, like I already said. So subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, leave a comment. You guys know the rules by now, and I'll see you in the next one.
And another thing I'm discovering lately, I'm a bit crazy for my rugby league team. Now the stage is set for the best season yet, you'll see.